Hi everyone, this is Balázs from RacingBrick. The first LEGO Technic Control Plus set was released 4 years ago. That was the 4x4 Extreme Offroader. Do you know how many Control Plus sets have been released since then? Let me know in the comments, I'll be waiting. So, there have been 10 sets in total, and you can see them all here. Yes, I know there's been an extra 1.5 powered set since the new powered up system was introduced, but these aren't Control Plus as they have a dumb battery box with no Bluetooth. And this one doesn't actually exist. So that's all the remote controlled powered up Technic sets labeled Control Plus, and I thought it would be fun to compare the biggest ones. Sorry guys, you're out. So that's what we have left. Let's look at them with all their data, sorted by number of pieces. Let's start at the lower end. The first is the 42129 Mercedes-Benz Z-Cross trial truck. The piece count is debatable, as there were two editions with either 2110 or 2129 pieces. I had many videos about this. The recommended retail price is €330 or dollars, and it has one Technic hub, 3 large motors, and one simple medium linear motor. The next model is the 42114 6x6 Volvo articulated hauler. 2193 pieces. The price was $250 or €260, and it had one Technic hub, one large angular motor, one large motor, and one XL motor. Here is the latest and definitely biggest model, the 42146 Leap Hair Crawler Crane LR13000. The piece count is only 2,883, you probably couldn't tell, and the price is a whopping $700 or €680. It has 2 Technic hubs and 6 large angular motors. Then comes the 42131 Cat D11 Bulldozer with 3,854 pieces. The RRP was €500 or dollars, and it had one Technic hub, 2 large angular motors, and 2 large motors. And here is the last model with the most pieces, 4,108 to be exact, the 42100 Leap Hair R9800, priced at €450 or dollars. It had 2 Technic hubs, 4 large motors, and 3 XL motors. So, if we compare their sizes, I think the Leap Hair crane is a clear winner. It is simply enormous, a real logistical challenge to store it anywhere. Next is the Leap Hair excavator, although its boxy design makes it easier to handle. The third in the group is the Cat D11 Bulldozer, whose massive blade can cause a few headaches. Now it's time to switch them on and do some testing. As I want to have a fair comparison, I can't use alkaline batteries as their voltage drops quickly over time, and I don't want to use a new pack for each set. Luckily, the great folks at X-Star sent me a pack of their new 1.5V AA high-capacity lithium-ion batteries. 4150 mWh, which is a lot more than the previous set I had. The voltage stays constant at 1.5V until the very end, but before it dies it drops to 1.1V, so the device you are using it in can give you a low battery warning. The new LA charger was included, which can be used to charge both lithium-ion and nickel metal hydride batteries. These batteries have their own charge indicator, but so does the charger. To be honest, I don't find the LEDs on the batteries themselves necessary, but in the end they don't bother me too much. Now let's see how the batteries perform in the machines. If you want to know more about them and the charger, you can find the links in the description of the video. So let's take a look at the difference in speed. All vehicles have the same battery pack. In the ones with 2 hubs, the batteries are in the hub responsible for driving. Let's play a little game again. Which one will be the fastest? What do you think? Well, I have to admit that I was surprised. Believe it or not, even with the shift brakes, the Volvo articulated hauler is the fastest. And an even bigger surprise is that the Cat Bulldozer is in the second place. The Z-Cross is the third fastest and the 2 Leap Hairs are the slowest. Their performance is pretty similar. I also wanted to see how they performed on a rough surface. This rug was the testing ground. I think we can say that they all overcame this challenge, even the Leap Hair crane, because I thought that the rollers that hold the weight would have problems here. To be honest, it can't climb backwards on it, but it's certainly not an off-road vehicle. Then a climbing comparison. The Z-Cross definitely has the required power, but it has serious ground clearance issues. The front of the truck would need an overhaul to really call it a trial truck. The Volvo hauler can handle 1 row of Duplo bricks in first gear, but 2 rows will already stop it. The Cat Bulldozer is surprisingly confident. 1 row is practically nothing. It can even cope with 2 rows, and when it comes to 3, the problem is solved in a different way. I didn't expect much from the Leap Hair excavator. I thought even 1 layer of bricks would stop it. Well, it doesn't look very good, but in the end it manages to climb over it. but 2 layers are obviously too much. And finally, the huge crane. I hope you weren't expecting a climbing feat here. At this size, we should be glad it's moving at all. Now let's talk about the features. This is no longer an objective comparison, but it reflects my opinion. I think the Cat D11 Bulldozer is the least playable overall. It is powerful and handles obstacles surprisingly well, and the distribution gearbox used for the functions is interesting to build, but in reality, switching between the functions is awkward. A machine at this size could have easily had more motors to drive all functions independently to provide a better play experience. The next one is the 6x6 Volvo articulated hauler. On paper, it has an interesting 3-speed gearbox, but in reality, the gears have not a lot visible effect on performance, and you would expect some sort of automatic transmission, which is not available in the app. The next one is the Mercedes-Benz Zetros trial truck. It has lockable differentials, which is interesting, and you might be surprised by the climbing performance, but unfortunately you can't really do many trial truck things with it due to the low ground clearance. Then comes the huge Liebherr LR13000. It is surprisingly agile despite its size. Actually, the superstructure rotation is a bit too fast. It can lift certain weights, and it can lift a lot more if you add some counterweights, but the amount you get as standard with the kit isn't going to give you super impressive lifting capacity. And finally, the Liebherr excavator. Honestly, 4 years ago I wouldn't have thought I would go for this set with the best features, but here we are. 7 motors that control all functions independently, pretty easy to use, programming options in the app. I think this is the most playable one among these. So folks, that was my comparison of the 5 biggest LEGO Control Plus sets. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite and why. What's the best alternative set you've built of these? Because there are tons of cool designs on Replicable. Let's talk about it. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe with notifications because there will be more exciting LEGO videos coming soon. See you next time, bye bye.